A very warm welcome back. We're in Fourways today. It's the last day of Youth Month in South Africa, and we've been talking about youth issues from job creation, employment, to education, skilling, skills transfer, and we want to explore a little bit entrepreneurship and the role that the public sector can play, the role that the private sector can play. Should everybody be an entrepreneur as a way of creating employment, or are there other vehicles? Is it a combination? Well, you know, we've been talking about young people as if they're not here, as if they're sort of stuck in another room. But we are very fortunate to have a table of young people that have come and joined us. And I'd like to go to that table now and just to get some comments from our youth, what they've heard today, and also what they would like to point us adults, what directions that we should be going and what we should be doing. So let's go to that table now. We've got some young people there. If you could get the microphone and stand up, say your name, and then just tell us.
Good morning.
Oh, very, very confident.
My name is Ntsaki Poko, and I'm from Skodipola Secondary School, and I'm currently doing matric. I feel like a lot of theories are put into place. For example, a lot of programs are done for young people, but not all of them involve us. You spoke about reaching a lot of communities, but to be honest, I've never seen whatever program in our community, Cosmos City. I've never even heard that NYDA came to Cosmos City to do something. And again, I feel like it should start at school. Even though you want to create employment and all that, it should start at school. For example, I feel like even though a lot of money is put into place for education, not all of it goes to education, and not all of it empowers young people. What happens is the government or developments
Agencies.
focus on certain subjects, they prioritize. For example, you'll hear there's a camp for scientists. Okay, fine. So what about the kids who are not gifted academically? What about the kids who write poetry, music? They are not given platforms to do something better, to enhance our country. I feel like even though it's very important to go into science and study to be a doctor and all that, we also need people who will be able to show us the way. I feel like the government needs to involve us as students to say, okay, what do you feel can be put into place to make this a better thing for you guys? What do you think needs to be done? Where do we start? Because if you ask me, I think you should start at school.
Okay. All right. Let's get another young person on the table. I've got a feeling that Parliament is going to be very interesting in the coming years. Is there someone else on that table, or were you the spokesperson? Okay.
Yeah. I'm on TV. Okay. Let's be serious. My name is Marcos Nkala. I'm from the same school as her, Skodipola Secondary School. Okay. As we know that good quality education actually increases the employment rate of the youth, right? So I was asking, instead of talking about this employing youth out of the blue, what if we actually increase the quality of the education in our schools? Because as people, if you set a standard here, we'll actually try to aim for the standard. We don't aim higher. That's how people are. So if you set a standard at pass mark at 30, we'll actually head to that pass mark, and you'll find a 100% pass rate, but people are actually sitting on the street, right? So if we can actually increase not just the pass rate, but the quality of the education, such that what we learn here can actually be compared to other countries, and we're no longer in number 53 but you're actually number 2 or 1. It is possible. But it starts right here at school, like she said. It starts here at school. And if we can actually start implementing good quality education and high pass marks, come on, a 50. If we can actually say a 50, like in those days, back in the days, they said a pass mark is 50.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Well,
all right.
they used to call it imadoda score, but they actually met that score anyway. But now it's a 30, and a person actually gets 29, and it's just embarrassing, because it's just a 30. They should actually be aiming for 50.
All right, okay. I think you've both made very good points, and I'm sure that the future is in good hands with young people such as this. Okay, so they know what they want, but they feel like you're not including them in this NDP, these plans that you're creating. They know how to fix things. How can you create an environment where these young people's voice, because the plans you're creating affect them, they're feeling excluded? How do you include them going forward?
Look, primarily the next 15 years, in our view, is the 15 years of youth. And that is why I said earlier on that over the next few weeks, we'll be going to schools, universities, and everywhere else. We started with them. We said, come over to Monte Casino. Let's have breakfast. Let's talk. But we'll be doing more of those engagements because we've said, in the past, there must be nothing about us without us. And that's what I'm hearing from there. There cannot be anything that is, about young people which does not include young people. And I think, the young man is right. Everybody, or I think it's the young girl, is right. We have to start at school. And that's where we're going to be starting. We have to start in, townships, in rural areas, in universities. We have to start there and say to young people, we're here to listen, and I can't say anything contrary to the points that they've said. The quality of our education, very critical. The commitment of our teachers, the commitment of learners themselves. If it is true that government has set the pass rate at 30%, we are not obliged to perform 29% of that, 30%. It is up to us to make sure that we push that, percentage performance to 100%. I know that the Department of Basic Education have explained that there is no such thing as 35% pass rate. I don't want us to get into that now, but I think that it is in us.
Yeah, but the perception that they have is that they don't have to try hard.
Yeah.
So no matter what the department is saying, if this is what they're thinking they need to do is to get 30%, there's a problem, and I think that needs to be addressed. Yershen, what can NYDA do in the school system? Because when they've left, it's probably too late for a lot of them.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more, Peter. I mean, if this is the young people and young leaders, lively, energetic, constructive, our future is very bright. You see, one of the things we've said as the NYDA is we've got to encourage excellence in education. So Nswake may not see us in the community, but when you see the NYDA Solomon Mahlangu Scholarship, which requires that you get 70% to just apply for the scholarship, it means you've got to aim for 70% minimum. And in the last year, we had about 236 young people from mostly rural, poor schools accessing almost 20 million rand to pursue excellence in education. And that's why we're quite encouraged by the Presidency through the Deputy Minister Manamela that the cornerstones of progress must be quality, relevant education. And then we must unpack what kind of programs should accompany quality, relevant education. Maybe some of these young learners can share with us. Do we need more scholarships? Do we need more information about the existing bursaries and scholarships? Or what do we need to do more for quality, relevant education?
All right, okay. Table 23, Makosi Nkala. Table 23, Makosi.
How?
Oh, is that the same guy? Oh, no. Well, let's move on. Let's give the other members of the House an opportunity. Okay, Sunman Lee, Simon, table number 10. Sunman Lee, table number 10.
Good morning. Good morning. My first question and the second question was actually the things that you discussed already. So.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that we helped you out.
Yes. Then my new question is, what then the government incorporated with NYDA think the mind the youngsters should have to make a better future in South Africa? I mean, it's not all about the tangible things that you've been discussing about. It's the intangible side. What kind of mind should the youth from your side you're expecting us to have for you, so you can also help us to make a better future? That's my question.
Okay,
Thank
and this sort of helps Nonala Buthelezi, who says, should the question not be, what should South Africa youth do? So I don't know if you can address those two.
Look, I mean, the young girl, she didn't say her name, so I'm going to refer to her as the young girl because she's the youngest girl who spoke today. Spoke about the fact that it's not about the hard things. It's not about science, IT, and all of that. It's not only about those things. It's also about arts and culture. It's about sports and recreation. It's about allowing us to be youth, to be teenagers, to be young girls and boys, to write poetry, music, drama, and all of that. And I think that we sometimes think, young people must build youth that will build a Kia or a Samsung TV, radio, and all of that. But it's also about the softer things in life. But I think more importantly, yes, we should ask the question, what is government doing for us? But that question must be accompanied by, what is it that I'm prepared to do? You said earlier, the spokesperson of the NYDA said, meet us halfway. And that's why I said in my earlier address, young people want a hand up, not a handout. And I think that that is what we need to be focusing on, giving young people a hand up, not a grant, not a favor. These are not incapable people. They're human beings with potentials, and I think we've got to invest into that.
But are you guys going to make it easy for them to do these things? Because the thing that keeps coming up is that there's constant obstacles, red tape, bureaucracy that's holding them back. Are you making a commitment that you're going to make it easier for them to live out their dreams?
Well, I think we can only do so much, and that's why it's a very important question to ask. What do South African youth need to do? Do we need a mindset change? One that is that focuses on being leaders and not just passive recipients of government support. Do we need to go back to history where young South Africans organized themselves and brought an apartheid regime to its knees, not through government support, for that matter? What do we need? A youth movement that is more innovative, that is more focused on excellence in education, that is more creative, more portable, dynamic, able to provide solutions and not focus on what the issues are, because it's very easy to diagnose the challenges. To offer a prognosis is a very different thing on its own. And perhaps with a change in mindset and a new development agenda that the Deputy Minister was speaking about, we may be able to make far greater strides than what we are currently making.
All right, let's go to table 3? Dr. Makapa Makafolo, is that correct? Yep, okay. You have some thoughts that you'd like to share. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm from Mintek. I'm the executive responsible for research and development. That's okay. I'm the executive responsible for research and development. I think there's a lot of things that government is doing maybe people are not aware of. And they do this in partnership with private sector. As Mintek, we're involved in terms of helping students to finish their national diplomas.
We're running out of time, so you've got to really be quick and hit the point.
No, it's fine. I think there's a lot of programs, as some of the things that were said by the South Korean colleagues that the government is focusing on. We are running the Nanotechnology Innovation Center, where you're trying to industrialize some of the technologies that are developed within the country. We have the HISA catalysis as well, one of the centers which is focusing more on what you call the HISA catalysis batteries, which is mainly we get the youth into those programs. We reskill them.
It's such a pity because it sounds like a great story. However,
no, but I'm trying to raise that.
we've run out of time, and it's just one of those things that we have run out of time. You know, Oscar's going into court just now, and hey, you know, people want to tune in. So I just want to say on your behalf, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us, and a big hand also to our guests that have joined us, Honourable Deputy Minister Buti Manamela, Bernice Rabothata from Mintek, and Yershen Pillay from the NYDA. You've heard them, you've heard the voices, the young have spoken. We wish you the best because they are going to give you some feedback in 2 years' time at the elections. So you want to listen to them. But thank you all very much for joining.